Hi, this is Lisa Hazard with We're All Psychic, and today it is a week later, almost, well, a week and a day. Misty is here with me, and we would like to talk to each other and at you again. So I hope you enjoy yourself. And Misty, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's hot here in Alabama.
It is very hot. 98, 99 degrees hot.
Too hot for me.
Yes.
But, air conditioning is a good thing, and
Oh, yes.
thank all the gods, goddesses, deities, and whatever everybody believes in for air conditioning.
Yes.
Man.
Yes. Very much so.
Somebody made that.
I'm glad that I have good air conditioning in my car, too.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. So, what have you been doing this past week? What did you feel
Well,
with?
I've been busy. We've had house guests, and, I've been cleaning and taking care of kids and that fun stuff.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
What about you, Lisa? How was your week?
Well, I had some stomach problems, surprise, and my husband was a little sick, but kids are good. Spencer, he went out with his friends last night, and he doesn't go out too much, so we were really happy that he got to do that.
Good. Get him out of the house.
Yeah, get that kid out of here. And
he's what, 16?
17.
17.
Yeah, he's been learning to drive. He's a really good driver, but we haven't taken him for the test yet, so he's very nervous about it.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
the parallel
get
park
it.
anymore. Can you believe that? That's just, man.
I know.
Anything else? Let's see. I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure I did stuff, but I just don't remember very well.
Well, I'm just glad everybody is well and nobody is sick.
Oh, yeah.
Knock on wood.
There's some wood right here.
Yeah, knock
You
on
can
wood.
hear it. Knock in.
You're knocking on wood.
I have a friend who always knocks on her head when she says that. So last week we talked about spirit guides and we touched on some spirits and stuff like that. And I did an intro to an interview I'm doing with a friend named Omega about spirits. And we're going to have our interview hopefully this week. So you had expressed an interest in exploring that side of the psychic world when we talked this past week and doing more conversation about spirits for this interview.
Yes.
And you said you did some research. What kind of stuff did you find?
Well, spirit guides always have interested me, but I did a little homework, not as much as I wanted to do, but I kind of looked into some of the Native American Indians and what they believe, and I found out that they have 9 different spirit animals that will accompany them through their entire lifetime acting as guides. And I thought that was kind of cool because usually when you think of spirit guides, animals don't really fall into that picture. At least they didn't, with me before. So I thought that was really cool. And different animals come in at different times of their lives is what I read about it. And one of them stays with them their entire life. And the Indians say that most of us are drawn to these certain animals in some way. And that's how they know that that's their animal spirit. It could be a bird. It could be a fox, it could be a cat, it could be a dog, it could be a fish, it could be anything. So I thought that was very interesting.
I find that extremely fascinating. I love cats. I adore.
Yes, Lisa loves cats.
Yeah, and I had a cat named Morgana, and she passed away on the winter solstice in 2017. And that night I drank a lot of wine and I had a vision, like we had buried her under a tree in our backyard by our shed. And I saw, this was before I started learning the traditional tarot.
Okay.
And I saw her, she was orange, long hair, beautiful princess. She was the Princess Morgana. So that will help you make more sense of the story. So I just saw her filling the dead branches of that tree with orange glowing, because she had orange eyes too. And I heard the Empress Morgana. So I was I told her I was drunk. I turned around to my husband. I said, Morgana's not Princess Morgana anymore. She's the Empress Morgana. So then it gets weirder. So then my best friend, April, gave me a tarot deck, a traditional tarot deck, not the Rider-Waite, but the made after that, called the Mystical Cats Tarot. And now something I can do is I can look forward into time and see something. And so when
Cool.
Morgana was sick, I don't always like doing it. So
Yeah.
I looked ahead and I saw her with a litter of kittens. So when she was sick, she was spayed. She couldn't have a litter of kittens.
Right.
So that was my information. That's how I knew she was not going to make it through the sickness. And she had white kittens in particular, and she's an orange cat. It was just kind of a sad, moment for me. I was like, oh. But then when I got this tarot deck from April, I opened it up and I started going through them. And the number 3 card, the Empress, was a mother cat with kittens, white kittens.
Of course it was.
Mama cat was a white cat. It wasn't a Morgana, but the kittens were just like blue. They were laid out just like she had been in that vision I saw. And then I could communicate with her. And she helped me learn that tarot deck. And she helps me find lost pets, and she helps me find stuff in my house. Yeah, she's always around, and she's like so when you talk about the spirit animals, that's like a huge part of my life. I've always been very big, love animals. Yes. And she's always around, and she comes, and all my other cats, after her, 2 other cats passed away within 6 months. And then another one about a year later. We just had a bad time, a lot of sicknesses and stuff like that. But so now, she helps me all the time. She's just like a person. She talks.
Doesn't that make you feel so much better?
Yes.
Now that she's here with you.
Yes, I have a picture of Gandalf. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, you'll have to show it to me.
I have a picture of my cat Gandalf looking next to me where she usually sits. She usually sits to my left. And I zoomed in on the picture just because I thought he was cute, and I saw her in his eye. I'll just show you. You can see her reflection. I sent it to my husband. I said, zoom in on his eye, and you can see her. You can see Morgana just sitting there right next to me, and he's looking at her. She wasn't alive, though.
Your animal.
Yeah.
She was your animal in this lifetime, and now she is your spirit animal.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a really cool story.
Well,
we had an interruption.
Okay, so there was a short break. We had some visitors. We were at the shop I work at, Amethyst Sage in Hartselle, in my healing room or reading room, and I haven't been able to work because coronavirus and social distancing as far as in-person readings. But so sorry for the interruption and drop off of the topic. We are going to pick that up again, I guess. We were talking about Morgana, and I showed Misty while we were taking a break, I showed her the picture of Gandalf.
Yes, it's for real. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
She saw Morgana's eye.
Yes, I did.
Morgana's face in his eye.
Yes, that was so cool.
Maybe I'll make a little picture of that for the intro.
I think you should.
Podcast. Yeah. The picture.
It's really, really cool. I really, really am impressed.
But it took a good amount of time to really work with Morgana. Really, first of all, get over the what,
Yeah.
And she I think I've told you this before, but when I see spirits, I don't usually physically eyeball. There's a spirit standing there. It's kind of like in my mind's eye.
Right.
So with Morgana, it's always been in my mind's eye, but sometimes she'll be there. One time it was a very dramatic night in my life. I will go into that story. But let's just say I ended up at a hotel. And as I was walking...
Isn't that how it always ends?
No. It always ends that way. At a hotel in Hotel California. And it's all over.
Cats everywhere.
And, as I was opening the door to my hotel room, I had walked to this hotel, and I just saw this orange blur, right by my feet. And it was I actually saw it, with my eyeballs. And I was very distressed that night. And to actually see her, physical form zoom in, I knew she had been with me that long walk that night for 4 hours when I walked.
Yeah.
And one time I saw her in the bathtub. She used to sit in the bathtub. I blinked and she was gone. It's stuff like that'll happen. But she's for most my experiences with guides, they are not intrusive. They're really just going to be there if you ask them to help you, or they'll interfere if you're gonna get in trouble before your time or something.
Right. And I've experienced that. Yeah.
It's not really interfering so much as saving your life or keeping you out of a. You talked about that voice in your head or something. Your intuition telling you sometimes that's your guides. And or angels or any kind of spirit that you have invited in, or they chose to be a part of your life, or you chose them. Whatever your belief system is from. A lot of this is a lot of the psychic stuff I feel is mixed up with spirituality, and it can be that way for a lot of people. But for me, to take the spirituality out of it helped a lot. The idea that um, there's something sacred about it. That there's
Yes.
something untouchable about it and
Yes.
real about it. That to me, like, doesn't mesh with the way the abilities work, if that makes sense.
Well, I was going to ask you too. I've read that people, have different spirit guides. Some have more than others. Do you think that's because some people need more help than other people, or?
I'm not really sure. I think it's just that it's a belief system, but it's not a spiritual belief necessarily. But I think that possibly we pick who we want to come with us into the lifetime.
Okay.
The spirits, and maybe they come along otherwise. I have a few, and I have a lot of ancestors who come and visit. If I had a psychic reader put it to me like this. Her name was Tracy, and she said, if you think of them, they're there. So when you think of them, they're there. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
You're like if you think of a passed away relative, let's say I think of my cousin Andrew, he was the first spirit to come, and I was like, what's going on? Because he passed away when he was 21 and I was 17.
Uh-huh.
That was the first time a spirit came, and that I was aware of.
Right. Right.
Yeah, as the night we found out he died. Like, I got the call right after I had a vision of him, like, coming to visit me.
So he just came to, it was just like his picture kind of flashed in your mind, or you actually saw him like in front of you and then you got the call, or how did he come to you?
Well, I was in bed and I always had a hard time sleeping. I think it was my junior year, it might have been my senior, I'm not sure, but I was in high school and I couldn't sleep, and just about to try to drift off. And then I remembered, but I relived it when I remembered it. So it was kind of, that's what I mean by the vision. It was like,
kind of like deja vu, kind of?
No, it was actually like happening again.
Oh.
I was in my aunt's house with my cousin, and it actually had happened. Where when I was 15, my cousin Andrew came home late at night. I was up reading a Stephen King book, and at one point I stole a beer out of the fridge.
Ooh, Stephen King and beer.
And it was so gross. I drank like half of it, and I just like buried it in the trash. They always had tons of booze. They wouldn't notice it. And Andrew came home from partying with his friends. He's older. Yeah, he's like 19 or something. And he says, you want a beer? And I was like, no, I've already had one. And now that was what, because I wanted to be all cool for him. But the vision that came to me the night I found out he had died was that moment. But then he just smiled and stopped and looked at me. He's like, in my head, I heard him talking to me. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
You're trying to impress me. Oh, you don't have to impress me. You already do. Like, all this information came, and all this, and this look in his eyes and everything. And then the phone rang.
Yeah.
And I picked it up with my grandmother with the news. He had been murdered too by a serial killer.
No.
It was really dramatic.
No.
Yeah. It was in Florida in 93, I think, or 92.
Wow.
It was it changed all of our lives.
What serial killer was it?
Well, it was a National Guardsman. It wasn't like a well-known one. It was a National Guardsman who took him and two of his friends out, and they met him in a bar, and then it just went wrong. And they could prove that he had been involved in 2 other cases, just like in other areas where he'd done recovery work.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't prove it, so they only what's the word I'm looking for? Put him in jail. Convicted. There we go. Convicted him of those 3 crimes. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet that did do a number on your family. So that was the first time you experienced that happen before.
Where I knew, like anything like that, definitely.
And when you said that he didn't like say anything, but you could like...
It's like we were communicating.
Yes, like that's how I experience it.
Yes.
Like in the I don't want to call them dreams because they're not really dreams, but when I've had loved ones come through, there are never words said. It's always just things are known.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like a conversation like we're having right now. It's just like, I say something in my mind and you already know it. And then we just agree on something or disagree on something. And that's the way, I communicate with them.
Yeah.
It's quite strange that's the common way to do it, I guess.
I don't know what the common way is. That's just how it works for me.
It works for me too.
We're finding out.
I know. Yeah. We're discovering that we're like that.
Dropped in there, yeah. I think a lot of people have these experiences, and like say you're someone like a little girl praying to her grandfather who passed away, for example, just a random little girl praying to her grandfather who passed away. if she's thinking of him, he is there.
Yeah.
So, she's praying, and maybe she might get, a thought in her head. She wouldn't know any different. That's all she knows.
Right.
This is always how it is. When you pray for grandfather in heaven, he answers somehow.
Yes.
And a 5-year-old girl would know that. But then when she gets to be 12, maybe she gets that little thought in her head when she prays for her grandfather or prays to him, or however, whatever her religion or reason she was praying. And maybe she'll experience it that way. The knowledge dropped into her head like we have, or maybe she would see something, or maybe something fall off a shelf that was his, or something. A lot of different things happen to different people.
That's happened to me before.
Yeah, the actual stuff moving. And
oh yeah, like when my brother died, the next day, my mother had a rose in a vase by his bed, and the night after he died, it would be knocked over every night. And finally, on the third night, my mom picked the rose up. And she said, Chris, I want this rose right here. Leave it alone. And guess what? It never happened again after she told him not to do it. So, yeah. And I wonder, too, if, a lot of people say that they've lost loved ones and, they've tried to communicate with them and they can't. And then some are so easy to communicate with, like right away. After they pass, you're experiencing things happen. And I don't know why that is.
I don't know. I've actually asked some guides about that before. And I have one main spirit guide that I work with. His name is Sam. And the way he explained it, and he has explained what this is now, but it's kind of a lot to get into. But the way they used to explain it to me when I would do a medium reading for someone or for myself, like, can I talk to, or if you're here, so-and-so, like in my head, I do this, like, just say I'm getting a medium reading for you and you're asking me to contact someone. I would like get a physical description and look around and start like bringing my walls down and letting some through until that one came through. They're really gentle and calm now. So that usually does happen. So let's say another one comes through and I'm like, well, there's the one you're describing isn't here, but this one's here. And then that one would usually tell me the word they use is traveling. To say something like that spirit can't come right now, they're traveling. And it took just recently Sam kind of got through to me what traveling is, but it's basically what I used to think it was, pretty much is what it is, kind of. But they kind of go off and explore things where they can't be in a million places at once,
like different dimensions.
I don't know, I guess so. Yeah, it's like,
I mean, I don't know, that's how I picture it.
Yeah,
I just picture many dimensions, like, just because we're humans and we're on Earth doesn't mean that's all there is.
Right.
And of course heaven, and I believe there's many dimensions.
I do too. Yeah.
Everybody's got a different word for them, but yeah, I mean, when I die, I'm going to go exploring too. So if you try to contact me, I'll be in the fifth dimension for a little while.
Why stop there?
Right. I mean, I've got stuff to do. I'll come around when I'm ready. So you think that's kind of the way it works?
There's a lot to it. It's kind of hard to get into, and I don't have the words for it, right?
Right.
So when I'm working on my website still, and I'm going to make a forum. I just found out I can put a forum, like a message board on the website. So I'm going to start, hopefully build that tonight or tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And invite, start an email list and invite some people who would like to ask questions on the forum and be involved in that.
That would be fun.
So I think that'd be a good place to explore some topics in a more detailed, deeper way. Besides, I communicate better writing than I do talking.
Yes.
I think that would be a good format, and I hope to work on the blog some more too and get that going. And Misty, if you would like to, I would love to have you guest write some blogs.
Oh yes, yes. I love writing, and like talking about this kind of stuff is right up my alley.
Me too. Yeah.
I could talk for hours and hours, but I won't do that quite yet.
Well, we have lots of hours. We'll just have to separate them all into a long, progressive relationship.
Okay, so when did you actually meet your spirit guides? How old were you?
I think I started talking with Sam. I started writing a book.
And he's the main one, Sam?
He's the main one that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of them, but he's the main one I work with.
Okay.
And I can communicate very clearly with him. And he came, I was a writer when I was younger, I still write, but I used to write novels. And I started when I was 24. And second book I was working on was I made up a character named Sam. He just flashed into my head when I was trying to think of ideas. And I just really liked him. I loved him. I was like, he's real, you know, and I got like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid he talks to me. And I was really like, woo, out there in my head, you know. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't tell anybody about the things that were happening in my head.
Of course.
Talking to this character, he was a real person in my head, and I just couldn't explain that to anybody.
Right,
you know?
right. And you probably didn't want to.
No,
that was like an
I was
intimate
like terrified.
thing.
No, I was like, they'll think I'm crazy. They'll know.
Well,
I'm crazy.
yeah, that too. But you probably
yeah.
wanted to just, make it between you and this character.
Yeah. I don't know. I just it was just a really weird time for me because I didn't believe in any of the things I was experiencing.
Like, how old were you again? 14?
No, this is like 23, 24, 25.
Okay.
Like it.
That's a hard age too.
Yeah, because everybody's finding themselves in jobs and they're supposed to do, and the people they're going to marry. And I'm like in my bedroom daydreaming about a spirit guide, the character from my book, and like having talks with them and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and
that sounds like my alley right there.
Yeah.
If I could only be doing that at 23, I would have been in a lot less trouble.
It was lonely. I mean, I thought I was mad. I mean, I really thought I was crazy. I didn't want to tell. I mean, I didn't tell anybody about that for a long time.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, I did talk to some people when I moved to Phoenix when I was 26 or 26. Yeah, 26. I think I went to Phoenix. And I met some people like out there at that time in 90 or 2000 or so. People were not as open to this kind of stuff in Alabama where I lived. But in Phoenix, it was more, there were actual, like I knew a psychic reader and I got to know her, and she's one of my guides now. She actually passed away when she in her 30s. And she comes around. So
she's now one of your guides?
She's just comes around once in a while. I don't know if she's one of my guides. She came to be a guide and she's like, I'm not good at this. But she still comes around, and she's with Andrew a lot, actually.
Really?
And when she was alive, we went to Coachella. And she did a reading for everybody, and she did a reading, and she asked each of us to invite a spirit who had passed. And she said, I said, well, I'll have my cousin Andrew come, if he'll come. And she said, he's here. I said, oh, he'll stay, won't he? And she's like, yeah, he will stay after the reading, because I knew he's a musician. It was Coachella,
right.
We're drinking beer at 9 a.m. doing readings at Coachella,
Yeah.
So he was gonna love that, and then she just had this really funny look on her face, and when they come, they're always together. Not always. When she comes, he's with her. He'll come without her sometimes, but it's like, what's going on there?
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that maybe they had a connection, like in another lifetime, or
I don't know. I considered that. And another thing that came up in her reading when she read my palms was like she told me all these. She's like, I'm with a man with 2 kids. And so she told me what ended up happening. And she said, your spirit guide's going to leave you, and I don't know why. And it actually happened where Sam and I parted ways at one time. Not because we had to, but I had learned. It's just one of those crazy things. I was in a room with my husband and my friend Julie, and Sam was there, and I think we were watching a movie or something, and I wasn't watching the movie. I was talking to Sam, in my head, and we reached this point where I was like, I have learned what you came to teach me, haven't I? And he said, yes. I was like, thank you. And I guess we don't need to work with each other. I mean, do we even still work with each other? He's like, I don't know, it's whatever you want. And I was like, well, if you need to go do your thing, thank you for teaching me this lesson. And I felt so good and so great. And then I forgot what the lesson was. Like, it was like taken out of my mind, like the words for it or whatever it was he was teaching me. It's just like taken right out.
Really? You think he did that on purpose?
I don't know if he did it. I don't know if I did it. I don't know how. I don't know what that was. But then he would come around to still see if he wanted to come around and talk. I miss you. And then we started working with each other again. And he was like, well, it was never like I was gone. I was always here. Right. But you had said that. So they do what we want them to do if they're working with us. Right. So he was kind of like, well, you seemed like, you were saying this way and this is what you expected. So that's how it played out. It's kind of how he puts it. Yeah. That goes back to cool. When you think of them as there, what you want them to help you with, they will, in the best way they can for your best good.
So how did he appear to you? Like a human form, or
he was a human form? Yeah. He has brown hair about down to his shoulders. big brown eyes, kind of like medium skin tone. And April, my friend April, is a Reiki master. When she first started doing Reiki, that's when Sam started coming around a lot again, when she was learning Reiki and talking about it, and when she performed Reiki. And I kept telling her, Sam's saying, you can ask him for help. She's like, well, I invited the guides. I was like, well, I don't know what he's saying. You have to ask for him specifically. And like some thing, I don't know what it means. Maybe it's a ritual thing. I don't know. But she's saying he's saying you have to ask for him specifically. So she did in her mind. And she said, she went, whoa. She was doing Reiki on me. And she went, whoa. So
wow.
She said, I just felt like this, like she had her hands out because she was about to do Reiki.
Yeah.
And she's like, I felt it like just shoot through into my arms and hands, like right when I asked for him by name. And she went to finish her Reiki certification. Sam came as her Reiki guide. Yeah. When she met her Reiki guy, she met him and a couple other guides, and he was on. And she sees him like I do. Like he's really goofy and silly, and he like plays pranks and tries to make you laugh a lot. And he can also be very serious and studious if he wants to be, if he's supposed to be.
So do you think that did he ever tell you like if he was an actual human in another lifetime, or did he say?
He said he was my ancestor. He said he was my ancestor.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've lived lives together. But that was I was really sick one time. I had pancreatitis, and I didn't know it was from a medicine. I was taking Depakote. And I had a very bad episode, I guess, really painful when whatever this is happened. Yeah. It happened twice. And both times I really thought, I was going, Yeah. And the spirits came and they're all like, oh, I'm going,
Really? That's scary.
The first time, it wasn't though. That's a really weird thing is it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It wasn't. I was just like, it was so peaceful. And it was like, okay, I'm ready, and it's like, okay, you guys. And then that's when Sam told me, look, I was your relative. We're like, I'm your ancestor is where I came from. And he showed me imagery of like time we spent together in a life, just one of them, I think.
Really?
And yeah. And it was, I think we were Native American as well, because he kind of looks Native American. Yeah. And he's like, we're just like running through the woods, and we're about maybe 12, and we're just running around in the woods playing with sticks and stuff. That's all. And there was some water in the woods, like a creek or something. That's all I really remember. Yeah. From what he showed me.
That is so neat. Yeah. And so that's the only memory that you could have of him is what he gave you.
I don't know. That's all I've ever really looked for. Yeah. I guess maybe I should look some more and ask him to show me more, but I just, I never thought to.
So if somebody was like trying to find who their spirit guide was, what would you suggest them start out doing? Like just flat out asking, hey, could I have my spirit guide come forth? Yeah. Yeah. And then like, cause I've done that before. Yeah. And I do it a lot, but it's not like, I don't actually pertain to a certain one. I feel like maybe there's multiple and I don't know how to connect, I guess. Right. Like a deeper connection is what I'm trying to get at.
Like have a name, have a face.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the best thing, best advice I can give is to release expectations of what happens when you ask them to come. Just if that makes sense, just release everything you expect to happen. And nothing will. And then, let's say you go home and you're sitting in your bedroom, no one's around, or out back, or wherever you like to be, and you just ask, will any of my guides let me know about them? And just don't expect any. It's really hard not to expect something. But,
I know.
And then what you first imagine will probably be the first thing that flashes in your head will probably be a guide. Like if you close your eyes and you just get an image, it might be an elephant. I don't know. It could be anything, but it'll have a relation to that guide somehow that's trying to communicate with you. The only thing I think that holds a lot of us back from fully exploring that spiritual access we have to the spirit world is the expectations, that we have. They will come and do this. They will make something move. They will be a voice. They will be whatever expectation. Yeah. What you expect to happen. Yeah. If you don't expect anything, because that's what happened to me. I didn't expect anything, and then it happens. I was expecting to make up a character for a book, and then what? Yeah, lifelong spirit friend.
See, and that's I think that's awesome. Not everybody gets that. And so that's why, I want that in my life. And I'm sure a lot of other people want that too. And they're probably, wondering, how do I get there? So let's just say that you do that, and maybe you do, get a little something, in your vision when you're doing that. Like, where do you go from there? Can you actually make yourself see them?
I don't see him with my eyes. I do it with the mind's eye, like a
third eye kind of thing.
Right, I don't know how that works.
Okay.
But he's like standing right here, looking down at you, and
Okay.
he's poking you. Like, well, he's short.
Yeah.
He's like, he just poked you when you said hey. He's laughing.
See, I just want to experience that.
Yeah, the best advice is just don't expect, and just whatever if you do that, wherever you go, like wherever you end up trying again, next time you try to ask for your spirit guide to come, or a spirit guide, just do anything, reveal, share with you, get to know you, let you get to know them. Just try to keep in mind not to expect anything, and trust what you do come with. What do you do come up with in your mind, what the information is. And you can always ask yourself when you're communicating with the spirit and you're like, I'm not really sure if that's what they said, or if that's what I'm feeling, or if that's what you can ask. Like I think I've talked to you about this before. You kind of ask like it's a trivia question. Like, or I guess you feel like it's like you're answering a trivia question. Say the spirit's like, blah, 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 and I think you're ugly. And you're like, didn't a spirit really say that to me? And you feel in your heart, and it's a yes or no. Like, if you get a trivia question right, it's like, I won't feel the yes answer. They didn't really say I was ugly. So that was just my insecurity. They would think that. Or, just an example. But let's say, like, when I communicate with Sam and I'll ask him something, if it, like, as I build up the communication with him better and better, I would listen to that yes or no feeling, like when you get a trivia, like I say, Sam, blah, 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 in my head, can you explain this to me? And I'll get an answer. And I would like, is that the right answer? Is that really what he's saying? Or am I just putting words in?
Right.
And when it was him, I'd get that, yes, the answer is right. I got the answer from
very anxious feeling.
I was like, yeah. I was like,
see, that's how I get
Jeopardy, like when you know the answer in Jeopardy, and you're like, what is a TV?
Yeah, that's how, when I do get, that, and when I have messages to give to people, that's how it comes with me. There's no, well, is this really true? Am I crazy? It's just like, this is the message. I have to give it to you right now. I'm anxious. I know this is what it is. And, I can't help it if I tell you and you don't know what I'm talking about, or I don't know, but it's like a whole weight is lifted off once I give you the information that you need to know, because, I know it's just one of those things. I know that it's what I need to do. So it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a yes feeling. To me, it's right in my heart, the center of my chest.
Yeah.
And so we haven't talked about you getting messages before, have we?
Well, I gave you one.
I mean, on the podcast, have we talked about that?
No.
You want to talk about that?
Sure.
For next time.
Yeah.
That'd be a delicious subject to bite into.
We could do that all day long too.
I know, right? We could just do this all day long. And maybe we should keep it a little longer, but a little short and sweet, and leave them dangling for more for next time.
All right.
And then maybe we can come back here in a week, do it again, and talk about your messages, because that's some neat stuff, and I want people to know about it, because I bet some people can relate.
Well, I'm hoping that everybody can relate, and we can open up some eyes.
Or some ears.
And some ears.
And some other orifices.
Yes, that's right. Well, I'm so glad that you had me on today. I had a great time.
Thank you, Misty. It's been really great. I really appreciate it. You have no idea.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And we'll probably be doing this again next week, hopefully.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you next week.
See you next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye.